Hello, and today we'll be playing part of Amethyst. So all we did was made of almond root so far. So we're gonna go ahead and pick Ikalis. He's the smartest person I know. And I'm sure that if there's someone that knows where to look for clues, it's him. Speaking of that, could you please tell him to come? He don't look so good. I jump in place as I hear the wolf talk. He's standing by the door, Zack a few steps behind him. I offer them a smile as I drop with my shirt. What do you mean? I've never been better. Ikalis rolls his eyes and then offers me an accusatory look. I shrug it off as I offer him a seat, which he takes. We both sit by my desk, and then I let Zack know that he can leave. The little dog bows slightly and closes the door behind him as he leaves. Must admit, I was surprised that you asked me to come. I figured you would be sleeping by now. I would if I could, but I really need to talk to you. Well, what is it? You know I'm a busy person. Trust me, if this wasn't important, I wouldn't make you waste your time. He tilts his head and looks at me with a curious expression. You see, the king asked me to do something important. He wants me to run some errands and I need you to help. We will be leaving for the city early in the morning, and once we are there, we will stay the night at an inn. Then the next day, we will run the rest of the errands and make it back to the castle by dinner. The wolf listens closely to what I have to say, taking it all in as he nods a few times. I finish and he sighs deeply, places his hands on his chin as he leans on the desk. Ikalis keeps his eyes on the moon, his expression unreadable. As per usual, I have no idea what is going through his head. Did the king order this? Yes. Specifically for me? He throws me some daggers with his eyes, those big blue eyes that I used to think were cold. Ah, dang it, I shouldn't have asked him after all. He's probably pissed because I'm wasting his time. It's just that after all we've been through, I thought he would be more willing to help me. Guess I was wrong. No, not really. He sighs once more and then looks back at me with conflicted eyes. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just that I was hoping to get some extra work done tomorrow. And you could ask literally anyone else if you need a guide. My ears drop as he says that, and I can notice that he feels bad for blowing me off. But I can't give up like this. Maybe if I explain the situation more. I need your help with something more important. The errands are just a cover. There's something else I must do. It's a task that the king asked me personally to do. That seems to pique his curiosity, because he looks at me with a suspicious look and a raised eyebrow. Alright, what is it? Seems like I managed to convince him to give me a chance at that put up my mood. I can't hide my wagging tail, but I make my best effort to control it. Okay, so hang on. Standing up from my chair, I rush back to bed and quickly bring back the old medal. I pass it on to him, and he takes it, inspecting it with the utmost care. Mind explaining? Yes, turning his eyes from me to the medal a few times, probably feeling a little confused. So this is a medal that the king took from me that day that I was arrested. It has a special meaning to me. I stopped in my tracks, not wanting to tell more than I should to the wolf. He may be a very good friend, but how much can I really trust him in this situation? Will he betray me somehow if he gets enough information, or will he just abandon me if I prove too difficult to handle. Those questions are those questions scare me a little, so I decided to take a step back and think my words properly. Think my words properly. Apparently it has a meaning for the king as well. We both don't know what this is or where to start looking. So I thought you could help me. You're the most knowledgeable guy around, and I was kind of hoping. He allows me to speak my mind, listening to my speech without ever saying a word. When done, he takes a last glance towards the medal before standing up. He then places the medal on my chest and waits for me to grab it. He places eye contact and takes a few steps away ahead of me. I trail him with my eyes, but say nothing. Why is he making this way harder than it needs to be? Is that really necessary? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you still owe me a candy, right? I guess I can go with you so you can properly pay your debt. He smirked as he turns around. He made that on purpose, such a jerk. My tail begins to wag like crazy other way, as I'm feeling quite relieved now that I got the response I wanted. Really? You mean it? Thank you, man. You're the best. His cheeks turn a little red, and that's because he's terrible at taking compliments. It's nothing. The king requested this after all. Besides, you would get lost easily by yourself with the snow. It would be like leaving a lost puppy wandering around on his own. Hey, it's not like that. I could probably do just fine if I knew the place that is. He clearly doesn't believe me. That smug expression saying it all. I used to go in adventures a lot, you know. Even as a kid, I never got lost. I also had the best guy around to help me, but that's an unnecessary detail. I really don't want to think less of me. I really don't want him to think less of me. Some may think I want to oppress him, but it's not like that. It's a matter of pride more than anything. There was a time when you were the mercer's apprentice, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. We used to go everywhere together. It was really cool. High mountains, endless fields, deep forests, and huge lakes. You name it. There was this time we bathed together. We bathed under the huge waterfall, and maybe we should calm down, leave that for another time. You have to go to sleep, and I must review some papers. Oh, of course, sorry, got carried away. Dang, I didn't even notice I was talking so much. I'm happier than I thought. I'll meet you tomorrow then, at the port. Of course, I'll try not to be late. We both smiled to each other, a silly grin in both our faces. I tried to rest, your body must be very tired, he says with that worried tone that I'm so used to by now. Then we remain quiet. After a while of silence, the wolf nods and walks towards the door. Yeah, you too, man. See you tomorrow. The sound of the door closing marks the end of the conversation. I remain there trying to process the happiness I'm feeling. I'm one step closer to knowing the truth, and the best part is that I'll have someone as smart as Ikalis by my side. Better get to bed though. I'm sure he'll kill me if I oversleep. You're late. I'm sorry I stayed up all night. In other words, you overslept because you were tired. You were the one who told me to rest. I saw you put my hand on my forehead, deeply disappointed at the wolf's sleeping habits, or better said, the non-existence of those. Ikalis' ears drop a little as I tail him off. I noticed this and not wanted to give him a harder time, I say. It's okay, you'll sleep a little in the boat. You ready? Of course, let's go. Beside me, crossing my arms and crossing an eyebrow at him. This is a whole different world. Is it really? The wolf says as he walks up to me. I look beside me, crossing my arms, raising an eyebrow at him. Well, maybe for you it's not a huge deal, but I've lived in the lower city my whole life. And let me tell you, this is 100 times better compared to what we have down there. So, sorry, I didn't mean it like that. It's just, I'm kind of used to this view. He's probably right. This is normal for him, so I think it's better not to take harm by his words. Anyway, I found the inn the king told you about. It's just a few blocks away. Follow me. The wolf points towards the end of the main plaza and moves in that direction. I nod and follow him. I follow behind him, making sure to take a last glance at the shops. So that's the saying, I really wanted to explore a little more. The innkeeper received us with a huge smile as soon as we told him that the king had a message for him. The old dog assured us that he had been waiting for months to get this letter, and he thanked us kindly for the trouble. To me, he looked like a good man, but there was something weird about his attitude and the whole secrecy with the letter. I don't know, maybe I'm just being too paranoid. Either way, we didn't get much time to meet him properly, as he insisted that there was some cleaning to be done. He told us to come back later after sunset. According to him, he would have our room and a delicious meal ready for us. So with that settled, we now have the rest of the afternoon for us. Ikalis told me that we should go to the library to investigate about the metal. And while that is a good idea, there is something else that I must do before that. I want to meet up with Mr. Spaghetti. I need to make sure that the old man is fine and want to. I apologize to him. Are you sure you don't mind? You don't have to follow me if you don't want to. I told you that I would go with you, and I will. Besides, there's nothing for me to do here. Once I managed to convince one of the bookkeepers to cover for me, and I'm not wasting this opportunity to have a free day. Alright, but I better not hear any comments about how muddy or dirty this lower city is. You hear? The wolf huffs and crosses his arms, looking the other way as he feels deeply offended. Who do you take me for? I'm not so sallow. I shrug off and keep on walking. Ikalis right behind me. The day seems to be a little cloudy, but personally I don't think it will rain until later tonight. So we should be good. We go through a big gate and then past a small river that divides the high city for the lower one. The contrast between the two is noticeable. And now that I've seen the other side, I can't help but notice it even more. It angers me a little. But now is not the time for this. I must focus on what I came here to do. So this is where you grew up. Ikalis asked from behind me, so I'll stop and turn around. Wolf keeps looking in all directions, fidgeting with his hands, even being as obvious as to look over his shoulder. I raise an eyebrow at him, highly disappointed. If you keep doing that, you'll be an easy target. Only people that look over their shoulder are the ones that have something valuable to protect. If you just look forward and walk past, no one's going to even bother you. Just keep your eyes peeled and make sure to pay attention to any sound. Is it really that dangerous in here? It will be if you keep acting like that. I roll my eyes and keep on walking, a scared Ikalis following closely behind me. I feel a little annoyed by his attitude, making me want to yell at him for being so judgmental. After all, we're not beasts down here, just good people trying to live a decent life. At least most people does, but there will always be some rotten apples in the farm. And it pains me to acknowledge that I used to be one of those. That's why I can't really blame him for acting like this. The lower citizens already have a reputation. There is no way for that to change. At least not with things as they are right now. Only thing we can do is wait and hope things will be a little easier the day after. And they're often not. As we get closer to our destination, sensation and my gut starts to settle. I can't really describe it. It's like a combination of dread, guilt, and excitement. My heart is also starting to beat faster, as I'm not even sure what I'm going to tell him. So what? Do I just show up and say, "Hey, Mr. Biscotti, sorry for fancy for a month, but I'm fine. Want to eat pork and drink some beer?" Yeah, great conversation starter, you idiot. Hey, are you feeling ill? Ikalis says as he puts his hand on my shoulder. I look back at him and give him a defeated smile. To be honest, I'm not sure. I guess I'm a little nervous. Nervous? You look like you're about to break down. That is not entirely wrong. I mean, what would you say in my place? I abandoned him for a month. I technically got arrested. I let him down so bad. He places his hand on his chin and then looks into the distance, lost in thought. I raise my eyebrow at him and silently ask him, "What is it?" There's no response though. So as I'm about to just keep walking, he keeps up. When you love someone, it doesn't matter how many days or even years they spend away from you. You will always be glad for their safety. The feeling of finally seeing someone you love that has been away is overwhelming. He says that last line in a whisper, but I manage to hear him just fine. His eyes show a certain warmth that I've never seen before in him, but they also bear a deep sadness, and I can't help but wonder what it is. What I'm trying to say is, I wouldn't worry much. Will tries to be reassuring by offering me a kind smile, so I give him one of my own in return, letting him know that what he said is more than enough. What was I even thinking? This is Mr. Biscotti we're talking about, and I'm his son. There's nothing to fear. I think I'm ready. With a newfound confidence, I turn around and start walking again, even faster than before. I want to meet him. I want to see his face again. I just want to hug him and say I'm sorry. So once I'm finally facing the entrance to the shop, I turn to Ikalis. "Thank you." The wolf nods and then leans on the wall. I tilt my head to that, and I'm about to ask him what he is doing, but he raises his hand. "You should go alone. This is a personal moment." Okay, thank you." When nothing else is said, I gulp loudly and then enter the shop. "Why are you here?" The guy squirms as I push him harder into the wall. I have one of my arms on his little neck, while the other is holding a candle. I'm trying not to force myself too hard on him, giving him room to breathe and talk. I was just looking after the shop, of course. After all, no one was here. Someone had to take care of things. You fucking lie. I swear I'll kill you, man. Don't fuck with me. Okay. I'm just here to loot, White. I swear, the place was empty and even the door was left open. You bastard, what happened here? I don't know. Don't lie, Pat. I'm not. I swear. Even if you say that, I don't think I can trust a rat like you. After all, you and I still have some unfinished business between us. Why the fuck did you leave me there that day, huh? Why? If you had been keeping watch as you were supposed to, none of this would have happened. None of it. The little guy seems about to sit himself. He's trembling and won't even dare to look at me in the eye. I'm sorry, White. I swear it wasn't intentional. He's lying. I know. He's plotting against you, and he made you suffer. He did. It was his fault that all this happened. Yeah, you're right. It is his fault. You should suffer. He should. Pal, too tight, right? What? The weight inside me starts to build up as a hellfire. Unable to stop it, I press this little and fragile neck even harder. I want to hurt him so bad. I couldn't care less about what he has to say. I'm not even thinking clearly at this point. You want to kill him. I do. Then do it. Kill him. I'll kill you. I'll fucking kill you. Lift the candle in the air. All the way sorrow, fright, and loneliness that I have been feeling this past month are gathering inside of me. I want to see him bleed, see him on the floor begging for his life. Make him suffer. Die. Ellie, stop! I hear Ikalis' voice coming from the door. I look away from Pat and notice a frightened-looking Ikalis standing by the entrance of the shop. My grip on Pat lessens and his unconscious body drops on the floor. I look down and with fear I see that the little guy is not moving. I take a few steps back. All the anger now turns into shame as I notice Ikalis' eyes judging me. No, stop. That wasn't me. That. Leaning on a wall, I end up dropping on the floor. My legs are shaking and my head is starting to hurt a lot. I feel like all my body is burning and I can't help but feel out of breath. The wolf quickly runs to our side, but ignores me to check on Pat. He crouches beside him, placing 2 fingers on his neck. As he finishes, he sighs, relieved, and then looks back at me. He's alive, just unconscious. I didn't. My eyes soon start to tear up once more. I feel tired, stupid, and utterly broken. All is my fault. I keep messing up over and over again. Ellie, what happened? I don't know, I just don't. Please try. Those eyes of his, so judgy, so unfair. He wasn't there. He wouldn't understand. I wouldn't get it. He wouldn't get it. I'm all done. Ellie, please try. You can trust me. It caused a soft paw touching my shoulder, and I finally get a good look at his eyes. Those are the eyes of someone who is judging you. These are the eyes of someone who is worried and wants to help. So I just break and I start crying uncontrollably as I explain what happened. I tell him about the letter, the intrusion, the overwhelming anger, what happened with Pat before and why I hated him so much. I just spoke until I couldn't speak anymore. And the wolf, he just listened. He didn't say a word. He didn't judge me or blame me. He just sat there listening to my story. At the end of it, when all my tears stopped, he offered me his handkerchief. Here, wipe your tears and let's get out of here. He'll be fine, just a little sore. Better not be here when he wakes up. I nod and try to get up, but my knees feel weak and I just go back to the floor. Here, let me help you. The wolf wraps my arm around his shoulders and helps me stand up. Then we just leave everything behind us. The shot Pat in the anger. As we came back, I managed to stay on my own, so he dropped me from his shoulder as I would convince him that I could manage. Wouldn't want to weigh on him unnecessarily. He was still seeming a little worried, but I tried to reassure him as best as possible. Although honestly I'm not feeling that well. In any case, we continued walking. As we did, he asked what had happened, and I told him about my story with Pat. What he did to me and the voice. After all, if someone could know what it is, then that would be him. Luckily, the rain took us out of that conversation as a downpour drenched us entirely. We ran as fast as we could, but our clothes were utterly wet when we made it to the inn. God says that indeed came out of nowhere. And Ikalis says while taking off his shoes and drying himself as best as possible with a towel the innkeeper lent us. I did the same, trying not to mess up the room. Indeed, it took the whole town by surprise. Because I had already taken most of our clothes off, only remaining in our underwear. And I'm ashamed to say it, but I've been curiously eyeing him for a while. I was not expecting him to have such a well-toned body under the many layers of clothing he usually wears. I mean, he's nowhere near Almond or Ikalis when it comes to the muscles. His arms and legs are slimmer. But his chest looks strong, and his belly has not a single trace of fat on it. His back is also quite broad, and his bottom looks well formed. So I've been thinking. The wolf turns around and catches me red-handed, but decides not to comment on it and only offers me an outlook. That, we should go to the library after lunch, if that suits you fine. Yeah, sir. Sounds good to me. Silence fills the room as it turns out that not every guy enjoys his ass being stared at. Crazy, right? I sigh as I notice that I managed to make him feel uncomfortable again. Something I am very good at, apparently. So, as usual, I'm the one in charge of picking the conversation back up. I didn't know you had a tattoo. That's cool. Is it kind of like my marks? Oh, this. Ikalis touches his left pec, where a strange-looking triangle had been engraved on his skin. You're right. In a way, this tattoo is similar to your marks. After all, there are traces of magic in it as well. Really? Magic is a tattoo? That's new. I got him right where I want him, as I know that Ikalis can't help but run his mouth when it comes to these sort of topics, making him forget all of our previous interactions and giving me a new chance to not mess things up. I've gotten good at dealing with the wolf's unique social antics. It's simple. Do you remember the magical ink on the map? The one that lights up, so I remember something along those lines. Well, this ink is also imbued with magic. Huh. That's one way of using magical ink, I guess, but why? It's a channel, like a magical artifact within me. Past scholars have discovered that magic is more easily malleable if directed to specific geometrical figures. At first, these symbols would be engraved on the armor of soldiers, but soon enough, my ancestor Ikalis will point out just how inefficient the method really was. And that's why he created these magic tattoos. This is the eye of Ikalis. It's the most common figure used to channel magic. How does it work? Ikalis seems to like my question because his face lights up as I say it. Well, if you already know, the magic users gather the mana from different places: the body, the soul, and the environment. Correct. So when people gather the quim, it goes through the body and then we channel it. This figure in my chest works as a gathering area, drawing the quim toward it and increasing the efficiency of the magic. So for me, the natural quim goes in here, instead of gathering all over my body and getting lost in the process. Oh wow, even if I don't understand it entirely, his explanation is quite interesting and informative. Besides, who cares? He seems happy to explain this to me, so I say nothing. Ikalis call it the core, and tattooing yourself is known as engraving. It's mostly done by scholars and knights who want to improve their magical skills. So the scholar in the Canine Kingdom engraves the eye of Ikalis into their body? Yes, quite. It's a necessity. If you want to engage in more focused magic, you need a core. This one is the most well-known one, but there are many others. So I just need a bunch of tattoos all over my body to be a better wizard? Sign me in. I'm all down for some rad tattoos. Ikalis chuckles and looks at me with some sweetness in his eyes. No, not all. The magic won't know where to go if you have more than one core, making it almost impossible to channel. Then that means yours aren't like mine. Your markers are a different kind that I've never seen. They have magical energy engraved in them, but they are not a core. So I'm drawing a blank here. I'm sorry. I see. But it's not like I didn't know that, but for a moment there, I had my hopes up. I'll figure it out. You can trust my word. I know if someone can do it, that's you. I offer him a sincere smile. He returns it, his cheeks fully flustered, but that's usual Ikalis behavior, so I don't mind it. Anyway, we have more pressing matters such as our current situation. What about it? We must clean ourselves, of course. If not, I will never be able to shut my eyes tonight. Oh, that's what you mean. Well, there's a bath in the building. No, you can go first unless you're willing to share the public bath with me. I offer him a sly smile, teasingly placing my hands on my hips and keeping eye contact with him for a few seconds. He eventually breaks it and looks away. His cheeks are red as tomatoes. His cheeks grows even redder than before, and I chuckle at his adorable reaction. He is too easy. Relax, I'm just messing with you. I know you don't like that idea. So, you go first and I'll wait for my turn. Okay? He seems sad, deflected, but as I'm about to ask him, I appreciate it. Now, if you'll excuse me, the wolf walks past me and closes the door, leaving me alone, wondering about what just happened. Ikalis took his sweet time bathing himself, so I decided to wait in the room looking through the window to the street outside. I can see a few passersby running around the street, trying not to get wet. There's a certain other person that piques my interest, a hooded figure, standing there in the middle of the road, just looking into the distance. It has the curvy shape of a woman, but I can't be too sure since it's too dark outside. She also doesn't seem to mind the rain, and she's not moving an inch from that spot. Is he looking at me? No, it can't be. I'm just being paranoid, right? A feeling of discomfort assaults me as I look back at her. She's standing completely still, almost like a statue. I can't help but wonder if she's looking in my direction by any chance, or it's just my imagination. Still there is something in my head telling me that she is. Dangerous, important. Whatever it is, I can't shake the feeling that if I stop looking... Sorry I took too long. Ikalis enters the room without warning, making me hit my knee with the edge of the window. His entrance also carries a cold wind that blew off all the candles from the room. What in the heavens were you doing? Shit, you scared me. My apologies, it wasn't my intention. I paid the wolf no mind as immediately looked back outside looking for the girl. She's gone. I'm so focused on this mysterious figure that I don't even notice when Ikalis turns the candles back on. Ellie? Yes? What is it? I turn around and offer him a reassuring smile, trying to ease his worries. And perhaps mine too. It's just my brain playing tricks on me. It's nothing. I turn my gaze towards the window for the third time and Ikalis follows my lead. Yep, still nothing. Could it have been my imagination? Anyway, it's a bath for you? It is, and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. It's pleasant enough. Good to know what's a fort while I'm out, okay? Fort. And with that, I try to erase that hooded figure from my mind as I walk past the wolf. After all, a nice bath is waiting for me, and I'm not planning on wasting it. As I walk back to our room, I encounter the innkeeper standing by the hallway. When he sees me, his ears perk up and he waves at me. I wave back as he approaches me. Sir, are you happy with your room? Is there anything I can do? Oh, not at all, sir. The room is great. No complaints at all. Although, thinking about it, one comes to mind. Except for the bed, you see, we're not that close to each other. There being only one bed made things a little inconvenient. Oh, but the goddesses, I'm so terribly sorry, sir. I know, it's okay. I'm just saying, for next time. Well, that's on me. The king requested one room, so I had no idea two of us men would come at the same time. Instead of being better prepared. So if you desire, there's one free room at the end of the hallway. It's a little smaller, but I'm sure it will fit your needs just fine. That's great to know. With that said, the man bows lightly and then walks away down the hall. I keep my eyes on him as he slowly vanishes from sight, and when he is gone, I just walk back to our room. So I reckon that you've been here before? At this specific inn, never. But I've spent my fair share of nights in this area. Everything's clean enough, so I like it. Yeah, I see what you mean. After taking my bath, Ikalis and I started talking about different topics. We've been playing this game of asking each other questions to pass the time. I also had to convince him about staying in his underwear since putting on clothes seemed a little inconvenient. No ulterior motive there, I swear. So my turn to ask a question, isn't it? Yep, fair is fair. Did someone instigate you before I stepped in? Heh, Joe looks that stupid. His mouth opens to say something, but immediately closes as his cheeks go red from their embarrassment. I can't help but smile at his reaction. I would take offense if he wasn't so darn cute. My adoptive mother, Mrs. Biscotti. She was good with math, and she taught me all she knew, aside from reading and a little bit of story. The rest I learned on the go. She sounds like a wonderful woman. Yes, she was. His eyes were wide, probably unsure what to say about this revelation. I offered him a smile, letting him know that's okay. Relax, it was a long time ago, no harm done. Yes, but still, I'm sorry about her passing. It must have been difficult for you. And you have no idea, man. It was the start of a phase I'm not proud of. The wolf raises his eyebrow, silently asking me to elaborate, but I shake my head and chuckle. Now, it's my turn to ask you. Plus nods and leans back on the bed, exposes his tie in front of the display. I guess we're past the formalities of not looking, which I greatly appreciate. So I wanted to ask you about your family, is that okay? I suppose it is, but allow me not to answer if it gets too personal. Alright, I'll try not to be too nosy. The wolf seems uncomfortable but willing, so I decide not to waste this opportunity. After all, it's the perfect dance to get to know him better. So, are you an only child, or do you have siblings? I'm an only child. My parents were too busy to conceive. Another one. Too busy? I guess you could say that I was an obligation, or better said, something they had to do. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay, Ellie. That doesn't mean I was loved. Quite the opposite, actually. They bathed me with all kinds of nice things as I grew up. Oh wow, is that how Ikalis perceives love? I wish I could just ask them, but I get the feeling that it won't do us any good. It was, okay. But why an obligation? Because your dad needed to pass down his title? Yes, he remembered. As I explained, the title of Grandmaster goes down from generation to generation. So if my dad hadn't conceived me, the title would belong to my uncle's daughter. And we definitely don't want that. The girl's a mess. Did he marry your mom for that? Did they even know each other? Are these too many questions? I thought this was supposed to be a fair game. Fancy me on this one, and I'll let you ask double next time. The wolf sighs deeply and crosses his arms, looking at the window. Fuck, perhaps I should drop it. He's clearly getting uncomfortable. Yes, and yes. They were colleagues from way back, but never really loved each other. My dad wanted an heir, and my mom wanted direct access to the royal library, so it was a win-win situation for them. Fuck, I'm sorry to hear that. Right. As I said, a win-win situation. They knew what they wanted and they took it. I call that an ideal deal. Dang, is this how Ikalis really sees romantic relationships? A way of getting a benefit that you need? It's a little sad. So will you marry someone you don't love? My question seems to take the wolf by surprise. He plays with his hair and looks away, not wanting to meet my eye. That's not what I want. That's not what I meant. We're not talking about me, are we? Guess not. Anyway, my turn. What do you mean by a phase I'm not proud of? Ah, well, it's a little embarrassing. When Mrs. Biscotti passed, I became what some parents would call a difficult kid. I started to stay outside late, get in touch with silly people, and, well, I became part of a gang. Oh heavens, a gang? Now it's my turn to look away, embarrassed to be talking about this with him. Yes, we never hurt anyone, but we stole some stuff. Eventually, we messed with the wrong person and got ourselves caught. That's when I began my redemption arc, if you want to call it that way. I dropped the game and started to get more involved in my mentor shop, although it still didn't stop me from trying to steal from the king. I'm such an idiot for falling in their trap again. I had no idea how unexpected. Really? The first time we met, Roger had apprehended me. How did you not figure it out? I just didn't put much thought into it. Don't take it personally, but I didn't care much at the time. How? She wounded me. You asked. I don't think you should blame me for this. We laughed it off, enjoying each other's company in this oddly pleasant moment. I yawned, feeling more sleepy with every passing second. The rain outside has been a lovely lullaby, and the fatigue from the day is starting to take a toll on me, making my eyelids feel a little heavy. Are you sleepy? Yeah, a lot. I didn't notice until now. But I'm hella tired. Yes, quite. I'm also tired. That brings another problem, though. I followed his gaze and noticed that he was looking at the bed, the same one we've been sitting at this whole time. Of course, the only bed in this room. I shouldn't be surprised, though. Ikalis is very reserved and dislikes personal contact. So the fact that he sees this as an issue is no surprise. Luckily for us, the innkeeper told me about that other room at the end of the hall. I should mention about it to him, and that way we can split. But is that really necessary? He did seem a little sad when I told him to do things separately. Maybe he wants to. Bond? I'm drawing a blank here. What am I supposed to do? What is the proper thing to do? Honestly, I don't think there's a correct answer here, but given all I know about Ikalis, I would like to assume that he prefers to sleep alone. After all, he doesn't enjoy physical contact all that much. The innkeeper offered me another room by the end of the hallway. If you want, I can take that one and you use this one. I point towards the bed and Ikalis follows with his gaze, and then nods and looks back, offering me a relieved yet sad smile. If you think that's the best option, I have no complaints. Are you sure? Ikalis opens his mouth to say something, but closes it a second later. I raise my eyebrow at him, and he shakes his head. There's been paint on his muzzle. Don't mind me. Enjoy the night. Thanks, you too. With that, I exit the room and close the door behind me. I'm leaning on a wall, waiting for Ikalis outside of a bookstore. He asked me to wait for a while since he wished to buy a particular novel, which he won't name for some reason. I wonder if it's some ultra-secret Grandmaster mystery book that I can't know about. That only makes me want to read it even more. Thank you, Sir Milos. You're always so nice. I hear Ikalis near the front door. Seems like they finally decided to move from the back of the store. I hope it's almost done, because I've been stuck here for almost an hour, almost half an hour. It was my pleasure having you here, my lord, as it was mine to be here. And don't forget, I was never here. Yes, like always, my lord, my lips are on tongue. And by the sound of his voice, the statement is not so far from reality. After all, he sounds really old. And Lord Ikalis, please do come back and make these old bones really happy. And well, have a good day. After that, they end the conversation. I soon hear the ringing bell from the opening door. So, are you ready? Indeed, we can move on now. Thank you for waiting. Missing it. Let's go, yeah. We get in motion, walking through the street without a fixated route. We're just browsing, as the would say. Ikalis seems quite content with what he just bought. And seeing him like that makes And seeing him like that gives me yet another reason to ask him, "What's in the bag?" "It's nothing really. Don't trouble yourself with it." "Oh, come on. It was right. Throw me a bone here, please." "Hey, bone. What I mean is that you can trust me. I know it's top secret, but I won't say a word. I promise." He was debates with himself for a while, opening his mouth multiple times to say something. I keep staring daggers at him, trying to pressure him to tell me. Eventually he gives in, and with a deep sigh he opens the bag and shows me the front of a brown book with golden ornaments. It's just a kid. Ignoring him, I take the book from his hands and inspect it, reading the title from the first page. The Great Adventures of Captain Von Kidd, the Pirate that Sailed the Sky, by Robert Dorman. This is a fantasy novel. I feel a little disappointed that this is an ultra secret book, but there I notice how red Ikalis' face is right now. I don't get it. He's so weird. I don't get it. What's so weird about this book? I'm not supposed to read these kind of books. It's not expected of me. But I find them pleasant and relaxing, so I doze myself from time to time. Are you not supposed to? Think about my position for a second. I'm the Grand Master of the Royal Library. I'm supposed to be the most knowledgeable person in the entire kingdom. So if my family found me wasting my time like this, they would at best punish me by my lack of responsibility. He sighs hard and then places his hand on his face, rubbing his eyes. I place my hand on his shoulder and offer him a reassuring pat on the back. "Well, since I'm an accomplice in your crime now, how about I come and buy them for you? That way you don't risk it, and perhaps we can read them together." Ikalis looks at me with a soft expression before turning his gaze away from my eyes. That would be inoffensive. I read way too fast. You could never catch on. I can't help but laugh, even though he's technically insulted me. "Oh, is that a challenge?" No, that's not what I mean. Yeah, let's just go." Wolf sighs deeply, and I can't help but chuckle at his antics. He can be so easy. We walk for a little longer. The wolf doesn't seem especially interested in anything, but he's nice enough to wait for me whenever I see something that I like at the store. He even convinced me not to buy unnecessary things multiple times. Although that golden eagle would look freaking rad on top of my bread. Just saying. Perhaps we should leave. I don't trust you with your own money. Yeah, hey, I'm just looking, man. Give me a break. Besides, this is the first time I get to spend it in silly stuff. I mean it, Ellie. We're not here to buy anything expensive. Wait, hold up. A certain scent picks up my interest, something I have smelled before. It's faint, but I can certainly recognize it, so I start to follow it, using my nose as my guide. Ikalis reluctantly follows behind me, grunting from time to time. I keep sniffing until the smell grows stronger, and then I follow it. We reach a building named The Good Buns that displays different types of bread and sweets, from which I can see. Hey, Ikalis, is this Lapham? How did you know? Of course, I knew that I had smelled something like this before. As if I could ever forget such an angelical scent. It was here where I bought it the other day. How did you know? Don't you ever underestimate the power of my nose. Do you hear me? Quite impressive, like a hound dog. Hey, who will you call a dog? bite me. No doubt. And don't come back here until you learn how to count. Our conversation is suddenly cut short by a man yelling at a young red fox. Seth, yes, Seth. I'll make it better next time, Seth. The poor teenager seems on the verge of collapse as the older man scolds him. I feel a little bad for him, but it's not our place to intervene. It also reminds me of the many times Mrs. Biscotti scolded me when I was younger. Now go and buy some more eggs. We'll have to do everything from the start. Seth, yes, Seth. The fox bows deeply into the splints out of the store like a thunder. He's so fast that it didn't even take 10 seconds to round the corner and vanish from sight. Our customers. The man finally spots us, walks closer, and meets face to face with us. The man is a dog with a fur pattern that I've never seen in my entire life. To a fur be that pink, I can hardly believe it. He greets us with a smile, and I finally notice how small he is. He's probably the same height as Pat, if not smaller. Please come in, and sorry about the mess. We just had a failed experiment. He offers us an apologetic smile as he scratches the back of his head. The poor man looks like he hasn't slept in ages now that I look closer. His eyes have deep bags under them. We were looking to buy some lapwing. And pointing towards a piece of candy on the shelves, the man looks right at it and nods. Of course you do. It's one of our most popular products. You want it to go, or will you gentlemen eat it here? Want to eat it here? Sure, we can rest our legs for a while. Just sit wherever you like to enjoy. He handles us eats a stick with the candy on top of it, then he smiles and walks to the back of the store. Man, I've been dreaming about this since the last time. You mean that time you ate the whole thing? Yes, it's that time. The bill's on me, by the way. Of course it is. So Sally, I nod enthusiastically before sinking my teeth into the candy. I close my eyes to focus on the taste better, and oh boy was it a good idea. Just as I remember, the sweet dissolves inside my mouth to the touch, the taste of lemon and milk in a perfect balance, making it sweet and yet acidic enough to make it pleasant. I let out a little moan, and to my surprise, the wolf did the same a few seconds after. It seems like he's just as much of a fan of it as I am. When I opened my eyes, I see Ikalis with a huge smile on his face. He sucked on the candy slowly, using his tongue to give the sweet, circular licks. Unlike me, he just ate the whole thing right away. I remained in a trance, seeing how the wolf treats the lapwing. Then it hits me. Doesn't it look oddly sexual? Before I can continue that line of thought, the wolf turns his gaze toward me, raising an eyebrow. Something the matter? Ikalis glares at me, holding my gaze, and she licks his candy. No, not at all. I was, Come on, Ellie, think of something. You can never know how sexual his way of licking is. Yeah, you have a little stain on your cheek. I said the first thing that comes to my mind. I reach my arm and place it on his cheek. His fur is extremely soft and well kept, making it pleasant to the touch. So I linger a little on his cheek, not retracting my hand away from his face. There, as clean as before. And Ikalis looks away, his cheeks and his ears entirely red. That's when it hits me. Did I just tenderly caress another guy's cheek in public? So. I take my hand away, not wanting to make him any more uncomfortable than he probably already is. I wanted to say something, but words get stuck in my throat. Thank you. I hate when candy stains my fur. Ikalis finally says he offers me a side smile that makes me skip a beat. How can this guy get even cuter? His power is too much for my mortal eyes. I'm not worthy. I'll just go and get clean either way, or else I'll smell like candy the rest of the day. Be right back. Before I could say another word, Ikalis was already standing up and walking toward the bathroom. He closed the door behind him, leaving me all alone with my thoughts. Well, thought that's the only thing in my mind is how stupid I was. He didn't seem mad, but that's probably because he didn't want to cause a scene in public. I so messed up. What am I going to do? That was a good try, but that move you pulled wasn't the smoothest. Try that test first and then see how it goes. He seems like the type of guy who takes things slowly. Excuse me? I'm just saying, you're being too aggressive. Perhaps something more subtle will do the trick next time. That bigger, talking to me from the back of the counter, offers me a thumbs up and a knowing smile. But to be honest, I have no idea what he means. I'm not sure if I follow you, man. Are you two going out? I'm sure thought you two were. My cheeks was as red as tomatoes as the man seemed serious about what he just said. The worst thing is, from his perspective, it would look like that's the case. After all, I bring him here to eat candy together. I clean his face tenderly, and then we both blush from it. It looked entirely like a date, and I just realized it. No, it's not what it looks like. We're just friends. Relax, don't need to get all wet on me. I won't tell a soul about it. Yeah, my word. Also, if I say something that bothers you, let me know. I wouldn't want to hurt your sensibility by mistake. I remain silent as the baker talks. He sees eyes as he is openly talking about this, which allows me to draw two conclusions. First, he's either gay or sympathetic with a queer. And second, he's got no sense of say whatsoever. I'm still debating if that's a bad thing or a good thing. I know it seems like it, but I'm telling you the truth. We're just friends. Is that so? You two got me fooled. The dog laughs at me, and I sigh. At least it looks like he is enjoying himself. Still was being serious. It would be best if you didn't throw yourself at him. Give him just a few tweets of sweetness, and then you make your move. It's like baking a lovely cake. You don't throw all the ingredients at once, do you? I'm telling you, it's not like that at all. As I was about to tell him how mistaken he is for the third time, he kind of steps out of the bathroom. His fur seems a little damp, and his scarf is a bit wet. It makes me wonder if he stuck his whole head inside a water-filled barrel. They're all done. Are you ready to leave? Ikalis interrupted us in the middle of our conversation, and thank the goddesses he seemed oblivious to what we were saying. Yeah, I'm ready. I was just talking to Self-Zordy, at your disposal. Yourself, I'll leave a good word to my acquaintances about this place. The food here is good. Thank you, Lord Ikalis. Nothing would make me happier. Suddenly, the dog starts acting formally towards Ikalis, which wheels us both out. So, you knew who I was the entire time? You've been here a few times, sir, and I always remember the faces of my customers. Hope it didn't offend you. No, of course not. You did me a great favor. It was a very pleasant experience. The small baker seems content with what Ikalis is saying, since he's been playing with his mustache for a while now. Ikalis also seems happy to be talking with this man. Me, on the other hand, I still don't know what to think of him. Here, have something for the road. They're freshly made. Zoe handles me a sack full of pastries. The wolf sees me take it and then bows in gratitude. I do the same when the baker smiles at me. and you don't forget what we talked about. Might come in handy for future reference. That single phrase is enough to light up my cheeks once more and to make it all worse as Ikalis is now looking at me with a curious expression. Did I miss something? Pay no mind, I was just making lessons. After leaving the jewelry store, Ikalis and I walked for 30 minutes before reaching the entrance of the Royal Library. The building is enormous, to say the least. We don't linger much on the outside, though, as to make haste inside. This was incredibly quiet at the time, as if the entire sound of the world had died down as we set foot in here. Only a few birds could be heard from outside the window. A left row of cells filled the library from the ground to the very top of the ceiling. The floor has a beautiful design, wood or marble, and the ceiling has some gorgeous paintings, which upon closer inspection displays the entirety of the creation story. The three goddesses building the world and giving us sacred beings our free will. This is stunning. That's all I managed to say as my brain was trying to process the entirety of this place. There are some tables situated in the middle of the halls, and when I decide to touch them, I'm immediately thrown back by their smoothness. I can hardly believe how much work went to making these. Some masterful craftsman must have done it. I was to say when my father brought me here for the first time. There are around 10,000 books and scrolls stored in this library. Each is more interesting than the previous one, mind you. You read them all? Been trying to. But wait, if there are so many books, we'll never finish looking. It will take us at least a week to complete half of them. I say, finally noticing that this may not have been the best idea after all. Please don't fret, there's a way to find the books we need. But first, I never heard someone making a ruckus about a precious library. But to think it would be the Grandmaster himself. As the Ikalis and I were talking, an older fella approached us without us noticing. As soon as the Ikalis saw who he was, his face turned serious and expressionless. The same look he used to have when we met for the first time. It's been a while since I last seen him like this, and this man he is clearly related to Ikalis as he's a spitting image of the wolf. But much older, of course. What brings you here? I have been told the king sent you on a very important mission. Hence why you were not attending to your responsibilities. The man talked slowly and calmly, but I can sense the aggression in his voice. He dislikes Ikalis and doesn't mind showing it, even when I'm standing right next to him. There's clearly some bad blood between these two. This is part of my assignment, Uncle. If you have a problem with it, I recommend you speak directly with the king. As if I had the time to make such a fruitless effort like you, I do take my responsibility seriously. His gaze finally turns to me. He uses those cold eyes to analyze me from top to bottom, his expression turning from curiosity to pure disgust in seconds. And you are? Me? I started my words as I was expecting the man to address me. He is. Did I speak to you? I believe not. Ikalis is soon shut down by his uncle, who takes a few steps and gets closer to me. Name? It's Ellie, sir. Lovely. Tell me, Ellie, do you smell this bad all the time, or is it today a special occasion? I see the man smirking evilly while Ikalis closes his fist with a loud force. For a moment I fear he will punch his uncle in the face. Uncle Ikalis, if you are done smelling my companion, we want to start with our investigation. But of course, don't let me keep you from your essential duties. And don't mind me, I'll just be doing your job. The man turns around with a victorious grinned while Ikalis remains in place. As expressionless as one of those statues from the outside. Although being so close to him, I could hear him gritting his teeth. It's so weird I've never seen the wolf so upset. This man must be a real piece of work. Ikalis, don't. Not while he's standing there. Let's go to the back. Ikalis whispers and grabs my wrist, forcing me away from the scene. Eventually we reach a table close to one of the windows and far away from anything else. And that's where that impotent prick. My eyes open wide as I hear Ikalis say those words. I can hardly believe it. Goody two-suits Ikalis just insulted someone. In his own way, but he still did. How could he, talking to you like that? My guess. Unforgettable, outrageous, deplorable. And hey, it's okay, I don't mind if he insulted me, he's just a jerk. Yes, he is. He just wanted to make fun of me like he always does, but now that I've gotten used to his numerous jabs, he needs to insult you. How dare he? What a lack of manners. I call his calm down, it's not the first time some royal has insulted me. So that doesn't excuse. I want my hand on his shoulder, trying to calm him down. And I manage to help as his breathing goes back to normal and his face relaxes. There, no use getting upset. I'm sorry, it's just I've been dealing with him for far too long. Now, don't mind when he mistreats me, but the fact that he dared talk badly about you, it sent me over my limit. I don't think I've ever seen you that worked up. It makes you look cool. Well, cool. That was the opposite of cool. It was so heated. Not cool, like cool, dummy. Cool as an awesome badass. And Ikalis chuckles and offers me a side smile as he sees me all excited. Besides, I don't smell that bad, do I? No, of course you don't. Your sentence is quite pleasant. As Ikalis finishes that sentence, he seems to notice what he just said, and now we're both blushing deeply. None of us say a word. Has he been sniffing me? When did he even? Shit, maybe that means I really smell. Anyway, the investigation. Ah yes, the investigation. Where should we begin? Well, we need a ladder, don't you think? There'll be no need. Watch closely. Ikalis walked towards one of the tables and placed his hand's palm on top of a symbol that resembles the eye of Volcanus. Soon enough, the eye begins to glow with a dim blue light, then the table, and finally some floor lines. Those lines go all over the library until I can no longer see where they went. Eventually, after a few minutes, the going stops and Ikalis rests on one of the chairs. Yeah, they should be here shortly. They? The wolf shakes his head and smirks, waiting with his arms crossed. I sit beside him, waiting for whatever he dared to take action. Luckily, it doesn't take long before I see something approaching us from the distance. The closer it gets, the more it looks like. Duck your head, by the way. No one can control the speed at which they are summoned. Ikalis said that a flying bug flew mere inches past my head, almost hitting me straight on the forehead. After the first one, more and more bugs came to us. One by one, they started to pile down on top of the table until 10 minutes passed, finally stopping. I watched the show unfold in silence, amazed and scared simultaneously, wondering what would have happened if I hadn't ducked my head. Just imagine such heavy-looking bullets hitting me like that at such speed sending shivers down my spine. Who would have thought a library could be so dangerous? What was that? That, my good friend, is a system that took 3 entire generations to perfect. As he says it, he sticks out his chest with a proud smirk. My family invested their time in creating a way to sort and retrieve books more efficiently, so each book is marked with special ink. Here, check for yourself. Ikalis grabs the first book from the pile and opens it before me. It read The Great Pastor Cullen and His Work in Church's History. Under the title, though, there's a little marking with the form of the eye of Volcanus. This ink is reactive to mana flow and attracted to the source. So all you have to do is think about a specific subject, even better, a specific book. Then with that in mind, infuse some creme into the table. The table is connected to the floor and the floor to the cells. Lastly, once a model reaches the book, it comes flying straight to the table that was used as a conduit. Is it wonderful? It is. So this is the use of magic. I would have never expected it that it could be so practical. I mean, each time I saw magic was just to cast a fireball or to make water come out of nowhere, but this is a whole different level. It is. It's what my father always used to say. Magic can be used for so many bad things, but when it's used with good intentions, it really shines. For a split second, I see Ikalis' tail wagging. He seems genuinely in love with this, making me wonder how much of his life he spent inside these walls. Well, that will be a conversation for another time, because right now we've got a mission we must do. So, are you ready? This is going to be a long evening. Well, if your classes were worth something, I'm more than ready. Let's go. And with that said, we both sat by the table, each of us picking a book from the dozens in this pile. I've been so deep into these books that I only returned to the real world when Ikalis stood up and lit the candles for us. I didn't even notice when the sunset happened. Warmed my eyes and laying back on the chair, the fatigue finally catching up to me. It would be best if you rested, Ellie. I'm used to it, but you are not. You force yourself too much, you'll damage your ears. I've been so deep into these books that I've only returned to the real world when Ikalis stood up and lit the candles for us. I didn't even notice when the sunset happened. Warmed my eyes and leaned back on the chair, the fatigue finally catching up to me. It would be best if you rested, Ellie. I'm used to it, but you are not. If you force yourself too much, you'll damage your eyes. Don't you ever get tired of being right? Not one bit. Now be a dear and fetch us some water. The barrel with clean water should be at the end of the hall to the right. Don't get lost. Oh, jeez. I'm not a fucking kid. I mumbled to myself as I stand up from the chair and head in the direction he mentioned. My legs feel sore after spending so much time sitting, but it's not unbearable. After all, I'm doing this for Mary, so I won't dare complain about it. Anyway, I keep those thoughts away from my head at the moment. No, he's getting upset now. Trying to get some water. I turn the corner he mentioned, going to the right, but as I leave his sight, I finally notice how dark this place is. No, only so many candles illuminating the stands due to most of them not being lit. Wonder if that's a preventative measure to prevent a fire from happening. Well, it's not like it bothers me. I've always had good night vision, so I carry on. In the afternoon was quiet. This place is like a tomb at night. Not a single sound can be heard. No rustle from outside. No bird sounds, no fire sounds, no life. No nothing but darkness. The damn sound. Steps. So light that I barely noticed, but I did. Given that the person who gave it is now completely still, I guess that they didn't want to be heard in the first place. But where did I hear it from? I tried to focus on my surroundings, trying to pick up something. Nothing, anything at all. Another movement, no matter what it is. Just move. There it is. What's was it? Not caring if my footsteps can be heard, it won't give them enough time to hide. After all, the halls are long, and they have no other way to go. Aha! I say as I turn the corner, but I'm met by darkness. Was this my imagination? I turn around multiple times, trying to make sure no one is here for sure. It could have been Ikalis. Why would he be hiding, though? It makes no sense. Hello? I say, but I get no answer, only signs of darkness. Well, not total silence, but why? Why is my heart wasn't like this? Why is it going so fast? It wasn't such a long jog. I should hardly be tired. You're afraid. Afraid of what? The dark. The silence. Nothingness. No. You're wrong. I've never been afraid of the dark. Perhaps. But you're afraid. Nothingness. Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I crouched down and put my hands on my ears as if that would help keep the voice away. I don't need you. I don't want to hear you. Leave me alone. Alone? It's alone. Go away. Don't you see? You're already alone. No, you're wrong. I'm not. Ellie. Another voice calls out for me from the end of the hallway. And Ikalis comes running and crosses beside me and places his hands on each side of my face. He keeps my eyes on him, looking deep into my soul. Look at me. What? Look at me. And Ikalis doesn't move one inch as he keeps his eyes glued to mine. Is it gone? The voice? Yes, can you still hear it? No, I don't think so. Good, that's a good first step. His voice is calmer and warmer than his usual tone, with some hints of worry in it. His facial expression is soft, and his eyes are as blue as the sky and beautiful as the Great Lake. Don't let it get to you. Come, let's get you out of here. We'll get some water. Thanks. The wolf helps me stand up, placing my arm around his neck the same way he did back in the store. How do you know? In this place you can ever hear a fly from the other side of the building. And you were screaming quite loudly. That's the incident. The night carries on like normal. Ikalis asked me about the voice again, but I had to tell him the same thing he already knew. It's just a voice that comes and goes. What is it? And why is it happening so often now? Ever since I was brought to Laguna Castle, is there a connection between that event and the voice? I can hardly tell, but I must leave this for another time. I need to focus on the task at hand. So we carry on the investigation as if nothing happened. And luckily for me, that actually helped me to take my mind off of the voice for the rest of the evening. We've read most books by now, and we still have an hour to spare before the ball begins. There are only 5 books left, and I just finished researching one. So I grab the next one, open it, and read the title. This one reads, The Mystic Arts of Pleasure and Desire, 1020 Ways to Satisfy Your Partner in Bed, by Sang Gulu, the second shogun of the Lion Dynasty. Is this supposed to be, and this related to our investigation? I desperately look at Ikalis trying to meet his eye and ask him what the hell this is. But sadly for me, he's deep in a book right now, and he doesn't seem to notice me. Curiously, opening the first page, I peek at the book's contents. The first 2 pages are introductions to the art of wooing your mate. After that, it explains how to use the mouth to explore the woman's lips. But it doesn't stop there, as Sung explains how to please a male partner after all. Use your lips, hands, and even your own manhood to place it on top of your partners and... Oh goddesses, is that even possible? Deep in the book, there are different pictures of different poses that can be accomplished in bed. Each of them nicely drawn by the creator himself. Fuck. I got hard just by looking at these pictures. Why in heavens would this book be here? This has nothing to do with the investigation. There was a position that piqued my interest too. In it, the man lay bare on top of the bed. The woman would introduce the penis inside of her, then would place her feet on top of the man's shoulders. Then the man would stand up, getting into a sitting position while still inside his partner. Pulsing his hips upwards, it is believed that the man could reach all the sweet spots of his partner as his tip would hit the walls of the. Found something interesting? Fuck! His voice is so sudden that it makes me throw the book backward, make it fly a few feet away, as far away from the wolf as possible. He stares at me with a murderous expression as that happens. Have you lost your mind? These books are extremely fragile. You better pray it's not broken. Ikalis stands up with a grunt and walks towards the book. All I can do is watch in horror as he reaches his hand to pick up that cursed book. Don't look. By the love of goddesses, I don't. But as his face lights up with a cute, safe red, I know it's too late for him. He's seen it. He's seen it all. What in the... Oh, goddesses. I swear it wasn't me. The book was just in the pile. I thought you had bought it for the investigation, so I gave it a few looks, that's all. I mean, it's crazy, right? Why would that book be here? Wait, hold on. Why is that book here? I thought you conjured the books with that crazy magic of yours. What do you think about sex when you attracted the... No. Of course not. It must have been a mistake. Things like these happen all the time. Sometimes somebody gets trapped in the wrong channel. Besides, what use would I have for such a vulgar book? It'll be ridiculous. So, let's forget about it and keep on reading. We're almost done. And with that, he sends the book flying with a swift movement of his hand. Then he sits beside me and goes back to reading. But as much as I try to ignore it, the thought of that pose haunts me for the rest of the night. We exit the library and step on the main road after sorting the books. Or so I say the master did, since I didn't even do a thing. In any case, we stop in the middle of the road and Ikalis places his hand on his chin. So, thoughts? Well, according to one of the books I read, the church is divided into 3 different divisions. Crusaders, priests, and missionaries. Each one of them carries a different mission for the church. The defenders, the administrators, and their people handlers. Indeed, anything else? Yeah, the high ranks are given medals like the one I have, but it looks like this symbol doesn't match any of theirs. This draws us to 2 possible conclusions. First, that battle has nothing to do with the church in the first place. It has to fake, meaning that we reach a dead end. My ears drop as a thought crosses my mind. What will I do then? What other clue do I have? The second possibility is it has everything to do with the church, and they're trying to hide it. What led you to think that? Well, I read a most curious book written by a former priest that turned to a bookkeeper. It described how many men recruited by the church just vanished from time to time. The highways gave the following explanation: these people are deserters that couldn't handle our way of life. But this priest believed there was something more sinister to it, since one of the deserters was one of his closest friends. Yet, as he tried to investigate, that man was charged with embezzlement of the church's money. And that's how he ended up in the library, since they kicked him out. Exactly. So what do you think? The church has a 4th secret division dealing with the ugliest jobs for them. Jobs such as murder and kidnapping? It's a bold accusation, but it's a possibility. We need further investigation on this topic. But wait, does that mean you'll help me? Of course I will. I despise the ignorant, and turning a blind eye to the subject would make me the greatest ignorant of them all. Ikalis offers me a reassuring smile, and I can't help but hug him without myself. I can't believe I have such a reliable ally. And to make it all better, he's given me something I thought I lost years ago. Hope. So this is chapter 3, so it's the same, so let's go ahead and skip it. So this secret division, this fourth division that Ikalis talks about, I believe that both Crow and Snake are part of that division. They were definitely part of that division when they tried to kill his family, like burn down their home and take the heart of Amethyst. So the divisions that Ikalis described of the church are similar to what Crow described in Almond's Root. You know, the Crusaders, the priests, and the administrative people who watch after the church's money. So that woman that Ellie saw outside when they were still in the inn, that woman could have been the woman that Crow and Snake talked to. That could have been her. Because I think the church already knew about Ellie being in the city, so that was probably her. That's just a guess of mine, but she probably knew that was Ellie, and that's the reason why she was out on the street looking at Ellie in the inn. So about Ikalis, he's very much somebody who is interested in knowledge, and he gets excited when he learns something new. And he always reads books because he wants to learn more about stuff. So his uncle, kind of like the snobbish type, very, unpleasant person, dismissive of those who he considers to be inferior. Where's those ambulance to go? Anyway, his uncle, very rude and snobbish, rude to Ikalis and Ellie. And Ellie wasn't as fazed by it as Ikalis was. He's very angry that his uncle would treat Ellie or any guest that way, just rude and mean. But Ellie apparently has gotten used to royals and elite people, just being rude. So next time we'll finish what's left of Heart of Amethyst with Roderick's Root. So thank you all very much for watching. Bye.